Welcome to my channel. January for me is definitely the month of Marty Noble, and today I selected another one of her beautiful books. I will be coloring in Goddesses, and I prefer to use in this book pencils which are harder than Prismacolors. My favorites here are Polychromasis and Arteza. I selected page with Mayan goddess Ishchel. I don't know why, but when I color many pictures in this book, I always imagine them with earthy colors: cream, pastel yellow, ochre, terracotta, light brown. And for today's picture, I also will be using such color palette. In Arteza set we have some very nice earth colors, so in this first part I will be mostly using Arteza, and when I will need to do skin of the goddess, I think that I will switch to polychromasis. It's easier for me to invent color combo. In Mayan art, Ishchel had two looks. Sometimes she was depicted as a young girl and she was mm, responsible for providing rain, so she was extremely important for Mayan culture. And also, she was a protector of motherhood and newborn children. In such look, she was depicted together with hare or rabbit, but sometimes she also can be depicted as an old lady with a lot of snails on her head and with jaguar skin. On this picture we have mix of these two images, but I am glad that she looked like a young lady. My Ishchel will have black hair, a very bright headpiece with bright green snail and golden elements, and I think that she will have almost a white dress, probably with slight greenish tint. We will see. I think that I will be coloring Ishchel in the second part. In this first part, when I do the background, it can be very boring to watch, so I decided to add to this video answers to the new tag which recently became very popular on YouTube. The name of the tag is this or that, and the author is Michaela René. The link to the Michaela channel will be down in the info box. So, this or that. Question number 1. Alcohol-based markers or water-based markers? Here the answer for me is very easy. Definitely alcohol-based markers. You probably know that recently I got a huge set of alcohol-based markers, so I am ready to start my discovery of this wonderful product, and I hope that they will be very helpful. I already used them on couple of my works, very simple just for backgrounds, but I realized how helpful they can be, how time saving, especially when you work in one-sided books and when you need to do plain colorful quick backgrounds. So I hope that step by step I will be able to discover more good properties of these art supplies. Regarding water-based markers, I only several such markers, couple of Ecolines and couple of Koi, and I can say that I am very impressed. I don't know how to use them properly because in my opinion they can show all their abilities only on good watercolor paper, when they are able to be dissolved with water to be spread on the paper, and on regular paper they are nothing particular. I use them together with pencils or together with acrylic based markers when I need to make color slightly more intense, or mostly when I need to mask white, which I used for masking black lines. Such a difficult technology of masking black lines when I don't need a white outlining object and when I don't have Posca in such pastel color, then I use a white acrylic marker and on top of it a water-based marker, and it's the only way when I use them, and even that I do not very frequently, so my choice is obviously alcohol-based markers. Question number 2. Jade Summer Grayscale or line art? Another very easy question, very easy answer because I don't do grayscale. I can do grayscale only from several artists like Lenka Filoninka, and from Jade Summer I definitely select line art. For me, grayscale is not interesting to do at all when all the shading is already indicated. I accept that the final look will be beautiful when you have this grayscale underpaint, but it's simply not interesting for me to color at all. Question number 3. Prismacolor or polychromasis? Oh, this was difficult. I start to use polychromasis more and more frequently for my recent works, but I would say that still my choice Prismacolors mostly because of their beautiful pastel colors, because of eggshell, because of grey lavender, because of pale sage, because of artichoke, and many similar colors which I still find difficulty to find in polychromasis. So if I need to do this choice and I wouldn't want to do such a difficult choice, then Prismacolors will be my number one. Next, Hannah Carson or Maria Trolle? Oh, my choice is obvious, of course, Hannah Carson. I appreciate Hannah Carson growth from her first to the last books. I enjoy watching how she slightly change her style, and in the same time all her pictures you can immediately recognize as belonged by Hannah, but she has much better variety of subjects on her pictures comparing to Maria Trolle, much better compositions. So for me, choice is obvious, it always will be Hannah Carson. I do think that the last books by Maria Trolle, like Flora and Luna, they are much better comparing to her first books, but still, Hannah Carson for me is much more interesting. Next one is color by number or no color by number. Definitely no color by number. I never was interested in such kind of books. I even not interested in color by number on canvas. Those kits when you have to do color by numbers with acrylic paint. It's definitely not my favorite hobby. I feel that I'm very limited in my choices when I just need to fill in spaces. I feel very small amount of creativity in such coloring, and in such case, if I would have only color by number books available, then I would prefer to quit coloring and to do cross stitching. For me, it's the same when everything already is uh, decided for you, all the colors, all the places where to put these colors, and in such case I would prefer cross stitching, so definitely no color by number. Next one is mandalas or patterns. Again, I would say nothing. I can do sometimes small part of pattern if it's included in design like part of the background. You saw that I did patterns when I colored beautiful books by Maria Trolle about peacocks, about Art Nouveau animals, but still, the picture for me has to have some scene, some main subject, and pattern have to be only a small additional part of it. I wouldn't be interested to color neither mandalas nor patterns. And if I would have only books with mandalas and patterns, again, I would say that I would completely quit coloring. I don't enjoy doing such pictures. For me, it's nothing relaxing and nothing creative. Even if I can select my own colors, I don't like to color repeated elements. I quickly lose my patience, so probably it's just my faults of the character that I don't have enough patience for patterns or mandalas. Let's go to the next question, and it will be double-sided or single-sided books. Well, it's difficult. Previously, I would say that, of course, one-sided, but you know what is important is quality of the paper. I have in my collection one-sided books printed on a very thin awful paper, but I also have double-sided books like Alan Robert, for example, printed on a very good book and they very good paper, and they are double-sided. So for me it's not very important. Now I color in a very cheap book which is double-sided and on relatively thin paper, and I still enjoy it immensely. So I can't say that for me it's important. The only thing is that, as I said, I want to use a little bit more of alcohol-based markers now, and that's maybe another reason for one-sided books. Next is single page spreads or double page. Again, it depends from the picture, and of course I would say that one-sided. Sometimes it's really very overwhelming to do a double spread. But if you look at double spreads of Kerber Razanes or Tomislav Tomic, they are so beautiful that even if you need to spend a huge amount of time for finishing those double spreads, it definitely worth the time. So for me, it's equal. I would say that during a month, I would prefer to do like 80% of one side pictures, and I can add also a couple of double spreads for my monthly plans. That for me is the best way of working. I think that last time when I did double-sided, it was something from Menu de Bonheur by Kanoko Yagusa, and I spent a month and a half. Of course, I colored it with huge uh, breaks between parts of the coloring, but I needed more than 1 month to finish a very detailed double spread. But still, I don't mind. I do it slowly when I feel inspiration, so for me it's almost equal. Next question is Ohuhu or Kali art markers. Sorry guys, I can't answer this question because I hadn't tested any of these markers. I had good opinions about this. Both brands are budget, but I hadn't tested them. Of course, I am interested to do so, but for now, I know nothing from my own experience about them. So we will skip this question and we will go to the next one. Color by number white or color by number black background. Again, nothing color by number. Next is a white Posca or white jelly roll. For me, it's a white Posca. Even if I had some small problems with smallest Posca pens, still I much more prefer Poscas to jelly rolls. My experience with jelly rolls was absolutely terrible. I purchased a lot of them and they stopped to work after maybe a week or two when the pen was still full, but it stopped to work. It didn't want to work on top of the creamy pencils like Prismacolors, so for me Poscas are still choice number one, especially comparing to jelly rolls. Next question is morning coloring or evening coloring? Definitely evening. I am not a lark, I am much more an owl, and I prefer to do everything during late evening. Of course, it created me a lot of problems with uh, light which I need for creating my videos, but I simply can't do my colorings during morning because I have to work. During weekends, I do love to do my colorings with daylight, and quality of such videos definitely is much better, but still I feel much more active and creative during evening times. Next is Jade Summer Chibi Girls or April Amber Chibi Girls? Sorry, I've never heard about April Amber, so I will have to Google her coloring books, but I simply have to say that Chibi Girls isn't my favorite subject, isn't my favorite style of pictures which I would like to color, so probably I would skip both books, but I would try to find about books by April Amber. Next question is a very difficult. It's Ellen Robert or Emily Lindehall Oberg. And it was really difficult to make a final decision. You know that I love Emily Lindehall Oberg with all my heart, but now I would say that my choice would be Alan Robert. His books, they are not for everyone, but they are quite unique in their own style. And I do appreciate them that in his books you can use totally different colors and totally different style of coloring. Emily Lindholm Oberg, she created a very sweet, very beautiful books, but still it's the same. Animals, cute flowers, cute houses, and sometimes you want to do really something totally different. When you do week after week all those flowers and animals, sometimes you need a book where you can use dark colors, unusual color palettes, and I do appreciate compositions of Alan Robert pictures, so my choice is very difficult, but here I would answer that Alan Robert. I have just one book of his in my collection. It's enough for me, but from time to time I love to do his pictures. Next question is having double images in the book or one copy of each picture? Well, I would say that I would prefer to have one copy of picture but printed on a better paper. Yes, I had one negative experience when I ruined the first page in a book, and now I'm glad that I will be able to do second picture. I almost ruined my Norse mythology by Jade Summer when I tried to iron it, and pages there were stick together because of the black paint. But still, I don't think that apart from such disasters, I would ever want to do second picture. Even if the first one wasn't very successful, even if I ruined it, I definitely wouldn't want to do the same picture. I would learn from my mistakes, but I would select similar picture but not exactly the same one. For me, it's totally boring. And I don't want to ruin my books by spreading it into two parts and giving the second part of the book away to the friend because it would ruin my book and I don't like to do it. So for me, a one copy but book printed on better paper. Next is Johanna Basford or Kerber Zanes? Of course, Kerber Zanes. I appreciate that Johanna created first coloring books and that she pushed this hobby greatly, and I would say that she made coloring books famous and worldwide hobby, but the level of the art by Kerber Zanes and Johanna Basford, they are totally different. I would say that to do pictures in Kerber you constantly have to think, you have to learn, you have to improve, and they are much more inspiring. I would say that books by Kirby, they are all in his style, but still they are slightly different in subjects, so they are not boring to color in all of them. In Johanna's books, they are quite similar to one another. From time to time, I do love to do her pictures and I appreciate all her efforts in spreading coloring, but as a level of art, Kirby Rasanas is much higher for me. Next is pastel background or acrylic paint background. I much more prefer acrylic background. It's more difficult to do. Sometimes you can ruin your page with acrylic background. Sometimes I can't do normal plain gradient like I planned. Sometimes I can't get even coverage with acrylic paint, but still I would say that acrylic has much more possibilities, can provide you with much more interesting backgrounds if you would practice with this medium. So pastel backgrounds, they are quick, they are simple, suitable for beginners, but as I prefer to have backgrounds in more intense and solid colors, I would say that acrylic is much more in my style. Hannah Lynn or Jasmine Beckett Griffith? Of course, Jasmine Beckett Griffith, one of my favorite artists. Their style is maybe similar, that they both create pictures with cute girls, but for me, art of Jasmine Beckett Griffiths is much more interesting to look at, even without colors. I do love her line art, I appreciate her paintings, and for me, somehow they are easier to color. And I also don't like that many pictures of Hannah Lynn have very thick black lines, too much for me. So Jasmine Beckett Griffiths, without any doubts. I love her books. Next, ordering from Amazon or Etsy. And my choice is Amazon. I did purchase a couple of PDF coloring books from Etsy, and I do appreciate that I can get my book immediately. I can print it on the paper by my choice. I don't have to wait for the postage of the book, but still, I prefer to have paper books, and to order from Amazon it's much easier and surprisingly cheaper for me. When I order on Etsy, delivery cost is crazy. When I order on Amazon, I have to use some delivery company with address in United States, so it's not very simple, but still I have couple of methods which helps me to reduce slightly the cost of delivery. Of course, on Etsy we have more interesting selection of books. Like I would like to have newest book by Kanoko Yakuza about animals, but it's not available on Amazon USA, so I don't think that I am ready to order from Etsy, and that's not very convenient, but still. For many and many items, Amazon is much more convenient for me. Next is glitter gel pens or stickles. Well, you know that I don't use such items like glitter gel pens very often, maybe for one picture in a year. But I would like to try stickles. I don't own them, but I saw a couple of pictures by other colorists and they look very interesting, very shiny with those stickles. So I can't make my choice because I don't own decent amount of glitter gel pens and I don't own stickles at all, but stickles I would like to try. Next, hardback or soft cover books. For me it doesn't matter totally. Again, I have some books with very nice paper with soft cover, and I have hardback books were not very easy to color because I can't lay them flat on the table, so for me it doesn't matter at all. Simple or intricate pages? Oh, of course, intricate pages. The more difficult is more challenging and more interesting for me. I don't like I can say that I don't like simple designs. I love them, but only from time to time. When I need to relax, when I need to try my new mediums, or when I have to think about something in my real life to distract myself from problems. But mostly, like 90% of all my colorings, I prefer to do in more complicated and detailed pages. And final question, final choice is Christmas or Halloween pictures. I love both, but Christmas obviously is my choice here. I can color Christmas designs, Christmas books, Christmas pictures throughout the whole year. I can do Christmas in July, I can color them in autumn, in spring, and I totally not bothered that I need to do snow during springtime. I love Christmas designs, so my choice again is a very obvious Christmas. I love to do Halloween, but I wouldn't say that apart from November or October, I would like to color a lot of pumpkins, a lot of scarecrows or witches, and for Christmas I don't have such limits. It was a very interesting text, so I am very grateful to Michaela for creating it, and I enjoy listening to the answers of other colorists. I watched recently a lot of similar videos, and I hope that somehow with my babbling, with my answers, I was able to make this coloring less boring. I promise that next part, when I finally will start to color each shell, will be a little bit more interesting to watch. Thank you for listening, for watching, and I will see you in the second part.